Everybody, this is Perch, and we're talking about news and websites again. So let me get into this. This question from a viewer: do these websites help? It says, "Hey Perch, I'm sure you're well aware of sites like CBR, Looper, What Culture, and so on. I feel conflicted about these sites. I think their YouTube channels probably push some people in the direction of comics with those well-chosen thumbnails of Jim Lee panels, catchy video title like 10 times the Flash saved the world, that makes some people think, hey, this sounds like a cool comic. But their news sites are often trash, engaging in culture wars, giving dishonest reviews, clearly trying to help cancel a writer or artist, no matter how much they pretend they're just, quote, reporting the facts, unquote. Like every now and then you'll see a random headline like, the writer of Dark Knight Returns has a troubled career, or something like that, clearly trying to pile on Frank Miller for no reason. On the net, do you think these sites have a net positive or net negative impact on the industry? Well, good question. I think they have a net negative. Hard net negative. I don't even think it's that close. The crazy part is, first off, the 10 times the Flash saved the world stuff. I don't think that content is doing anybody any favors. I don't think that it's driving people to comics. I don't think anyone looks at that and goes, "Wow, I'm very curious what the Flash is up to." To the contrary, I think it actually cheapens the comics because everybody's familiar or has seen the BuzzFeed like 10 ways that your hair resembles an avocado or whatever it happens to be, or take this quiz to determine if you give better or worse oral sex than Frankenstein. Whatever kind of nonsensical, ludicrous thing that they're up to. I think those are people are well in the mind that those are trash sites with very little inherent value to them. So, okay, if that's the case, then how are we supposed to think about the comic version of this? Well, I think again, a lot of people just view this stuff as cheap clickbait garbage. I don't think anyone's looking at that going, I'm curious what's going on with comics, and so therefore, I'm going to read this article and that will, inform me about something cool that I would like to read. I just don't think it's driving any traffic, and neither do they, because when you see these videos or these articles that have that kind of listicle element, 9 times out of 10, like more often than you would expect, they do not actually cite the comics, that they're talking about. Like, here's a time when the Flash saved the world in a pretty cool way. The actual comic it appears in is not linked. It'd be very easy for them to do the comicsology article that goes along with it, but they don't. They tend to just show the scene, show a little bit of art, and that's as good as it gets. That's as far as they go with it. So I don't think it's driving new customers to the program. Far from it. And the negative aspects that you talk about, I mean, here's the kind of, it could be negative in a cheap way or negative in a truly negative way. So you identified the negative in a negative way. Super negative? I don't know. But basically where and they do this all the time. It's like, let's pick a creator. Frank Miller gets piled on a regular basis. Weirdly, once the creator is truly well and canceled, like Cameron Stewart, then the articles shut up. They don't go back and they don't inform us about the past of people that they've quote unquote won on. So I look at how Warren Ellis is. Very few people are talking about Warren Ellis anymore. He's going through his process. It feels like victory is done. Now I think a lot of people are waiting, and if he emerges and starts doing comics again, then suddenly the articles will come back out again about his troubled past and all the rest. It's kind of how this is the most disingenuous garbage approach. Bleeding Cool, one of their, and a lot of really terrible things about that site. But one of the reasons, and recently Donnie Cates in Crossover wrote Bleeding Cool into the comic. He gave them some free promotion in that comic, in the storyline. Bleeding Cool gets a little shout out as like we wouldn't want this to appear in Bleeding Cool. It gets printed in that comic. He gives them free promotion. Now Donnie Cates used to write articles for Bleeding Cool, so I guess it's paying someone back. But Donny Cates also will say things like how, you shouldn't attack members of the comic community, and it's not, he doesn't appreciate it when people take shots at creators and all the rest. And yet he supports this site, which 100% of the time they mention somebody like Brett Booth or Ben Templesmith or, Sean Murphy. That garbage site makes sure to include little links to, Brett Booth, who's had a troubled past. And then they link to some garbage article about something he said once upon a time that some random weirdo on the internet. But they've got all those links handy. The Artists Elite group that's out there that are about to put out some comics, notice and check it out for yourself. If you go to Bleeding Cool, please, wear protection, get that ad blocking stuff in sight. Otherwise, your entire computer is going to be infected with crap. But go to that site and look at one of the Artist Elite articles that gets written there. And you see them like, here's some books that are going to get printed this summer from Artists Elite by creators like these ones who have had these controversies. And then they've got it right there. And they've immediately link to all the muckraking crap that site has done in the past. It's pretty astounding, really. It's just that he's got it all ready, locked and loaded. It's right there, ready to smear some people, and so that's the truly negative stuff, and I don't know, that is not helping anything. It's not reminding anybody of anything. It's like, oh, what do we have against Ben Templesmith? Well, once upon a time, he dared to be an artist for a Warren Ellis book that was coming out through Image, and therefore, because he's going to be the artist on a Warren Ellis book, he's implicated in all the things we want to call him. It's sickening. And these sites, like the ones you mentioned, not Bleeding Cool, the others do it as well. Looper, many of these sites all participate in that crap on a constant and regular basis. And why do they do it? Because it generates clicks. It in effect works. It's an effective way to smear someone, and people can't help. Even the thing is, even if they absolutely support the creators in question, they will click on those links just so they can get angry about what's being said about somebody they support. And this is the huge misunderstanding people have, including people who comment on these videos from time to time, is the writer of those articles are, the people, the Bleeding Cools and the Loopers and the IO9s and the various sites that do this kind of stuff. If you think they're sitting back trying to cancel people as part of an agenda, you're largely mistaken. What they're trying to do, they know that by taking this particular side of the war, they definitely have an agenda. The agenda is hate clicks, because they know that they've got half the audience that will go hard in the paint at them, that's going to be pissed, and half the audience is going to be like, yeah, they're talking in my echo chamber. Yes, I will support. That's what's going on constantly with these sites. I'm not saying that some of these people aren't ideological, but understand, it's cheap clickbait. That's exactly what it is, because they know they can bait you every single time by putting this stuff out there. That's why Rich Johnston does the stuff he does. But I mentioned the net negative. The passive negative they do is they just make comics appear and feel trivial and useless and pointless. They make comics out to be nothing of interest. They make when they trivialize the stories, then it often talks down. Like, look at the amount of articles about comics. And the other thing you'll notice is that the tone is either outwardly negative, like, what was the one I saw? This isn't about comics, but about cartoons. Peggy from King of the Hill is a problematic character and needs to be rewritten when they redo the cartoon. I wasn't aware they were redoing the cartoon, but apparently they are. She needs to be rewritten when they do it because she's not a good example for women. Okay, so first of all, if you're taking your role models from King of the Hill, then unless you're far off track already. Okay, I understand that it's everybody's life ambition to stand by a fence and drink beer. I definitely can appreciate that, but that is not a role model. But look at the sites when they talk about this kind of stuff. It's either picking at just nuanced, tiny little aspects of characters that gives you an overall negative feeling, or it's trivializing stuff that is like, is making comics out to be distilled and dumber than they need to be. Even when you see the article of, who is this character that just appeared on Disney Plus? We watched the Doctor Strange, the madness of multi. What the hell is it? The Multiverse of Madness trailer. There you go. And we're going to explain Shumagorath to you in the simplest possible way. And then they proceed to explain it to you like you're a freaking idiot with a bunch of kind of random stuff in there. And again, often dismissive. When you read the articles, it will say things like, this wasn't thought through very well, or this creation definitely has aged quite a bit, and it will certainly be updated for the movie. They insert little things that you can't help but see it as incredibly condescending and shallow. And overall, it just makes comics out to feel worse, to feel dumb. So anyway, that's what's going on there. I think that these news sites are doing harm, not value. I think if they went away, then arguably things would improve. I don't think the videos are that good, and I think that any kind of value you get off of bringing some attention to comics is often immediately subverted by somebody being condescending and sarcastic, like Joe and I. No, I'm aware. I think that this channel could do a lot more to be positive to comics too. No doubt about it. I'm not going to claim anything other than that. Anyway, there you go. Let me know what you think of news sites. What net negative, net positive. Maybe I'm being too hard on people. I don't know. You let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, of course, and thanks for listening.